Okay, so week 9 classwork. Let's go ahead and get you started by opening up your classwork document, put class topics, and we'll take a few notes. And then you'll have 2 other videos that you'll watch for this week, and I'll go over those once I'm done talking about the class topics. So what I'm going to do here is we're at week 9. So week 9 is the halfway point for 18-week classes. So in your notes, right, put halfway. So at this point, this is a point in the semester where if you're not doing well in this class and you don't see things changing, you want to think about dropping. Okay, and the reason is this is the part that you can drop a class and get a W on your transcript versus continuing on and having to get a grade, because after this week you will no longer be able to drop classes. Okay, so week 9 is that point in the semester. So, if you are not doing well, there is still obviously an opportunity, hopefully you know that, to get caught up. I've offered late work, we've offered subs, we have Jason, who's the ETC leader. So there's ways and things to help you, but if your life is just not going to allow it, right now is a decision you need to make. So just have a few things under there. Maybe actually under that heading put, how you feel about where you're at with this class, because you may feel great. Some of you should feel really great. You're really doing an awesome job. And so some of you may know I have a little bit of late work to do. I'm going to get that done. And it really brings up too, and that under your grade, and I'll talk about this in a future one, but it doesn't hurt to mention it now. There's a what if scenario to where you can update your grade temporarily to show if effects of grade of doing work that you've missed, so that you can do that. And it's really helpful. And I'll talk about that in a future one, but I suspect many of you already know about that. Okay, so that's one topic under class topics. The other topic I want to talk about is, amazingly enough or not, the end of the semester. So I'm going to move over to the calendar. I'm actually recording this video in week 7, so it's ahead of week 9, which you notice I always try to do content ahead. So I'm going to go into March, right, which is more like where you'll be watching this video in this week. Again, at that middle of the semester. And actually, I believe that last date to drop is here. It's usually the Friday of the 9th week. And then I'm going to move forward to April, because in April, I believe actually it's in here. Sorry, I should have this on the schedule. Where is the, I think it's right here, and it's not in here, but is the spring break. All important spring break, right? I believe it's there. So anyway, I'm moving forward to, and this is what I want in your notes, which is the final. So right now, and you're going to hear me in future lectures that have been past semesters talking about the final and when that is, because there's not just the final due on this date, there's also the last date to ask me to grade late work. It's the last time to apply any late points returned to items that you want to get more points on. And normally for my class, it always falls on the first Monday of finals week, the 18th week. But it appears as if right now I'm going to be gone the week before finals. So in order to make sure that if you get everything you need, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this with you live here, is I'm going to move this until the 16th of May. Okay, so normally it's on the Monday, but we're going to have it due on a Wednesday. So the final and all other related items that you'll hear me talk about in the future is going to be on midnight on Wednesday night. And then you'll hear me talk about a review day, will be on May 17th, and then I'll post grades on the 18th. So I just want you to know that in future lectures, when you hear me talking about these end of the semester dates, that I want you to always review your class so that you know when your final is, because you may hear lectures in the next couple of weeks that are from other semesters. Okay? All right, so again, more on that later. I just wanted you to know, but by the way, if you want to know, the final for this class is made up of 10 randomly selected questions from all the chapter quizzes, not the My IT Lab, not the classwork, just the chapter quizzes. That's why it's good to take those chapter quizzes multiple times so you've seen those questions. But I will release that way before here. As a matter of fact, generally sometime around about the 4 weeks before the end of the semester. But you know, if you're somebody that likes to work ahead, let me know and I'll release that thing so you can check it out. Okay, so that's week 9. That's your class topics. So for your additional videos this week, you're going to watch 2 videos that are important in our world. One is from an event called Google Cloud Next, which actually is coming up this year, but this is last year's events, and a speaker that I absolutely adore and admire is Fei Li. So you're going to watch all 25 minutes of this video, take notes on it. So in your notes, right, the heading for that would be machine learning, because this is a big deal in our world. It's affecting us on many different levels, and it's going to continue to affect us. So understanding kind of the vision of machine learning, and I see it in many aspects. I was showing students in the classroom today how on my Google Photos there is a machine learning intelligence that looks at my photo and automatically makes them better. And it does. I've never seen it make it worse. It's always been better. So the machine is learning, and it's going to continue to learn and get smarter. So the other thing is the kind of other end of the spectrum. So this is kind of the interesting, here's what's happening to us now and in the future, and here's what's happening now to us, and which is the Equifax hack. And this happened last semester or last year, but we've had many such hacks. And so on this one, I want you to start from the place that I've marked it, which is here, which is it starts at 2 minutes, and watch all the way to 20 and take notes. And it really, the reason I want you to watch this is more about how to protect yourself and how to understand what happens when these things, because sometimes you'll get information that says do something, and you want to be real suspect on when people tell you to do something, where that information is coming from. So just those are really important pieces of information. So one about just kind of where things are at, where they're going, and the other is pretty practical information about what happened. In this case, Equifax, what specifically happened here and how you can protect yourself. Okay, so that's that for week 9. I'm going to look ahead as well to week 10, because I'm going to release these 2 weeks together. So looking at week 10, so that ends week 9. So when you do that work, you're ready to submit. So on week 10, we're going to do something I think is really a fundamental skill that if you walk away with will be helpful. And it's mapping out your home network. Okay, and I give you an example, and I'm going to go look at it because this is mine. I'm going to see how up to date this is. No. So actually there's been a couple changes I need to do here, but I go in the video. So there's a video for this. So this is not the video to show you how to do it. This is more the video where I saw students get this kind of mixed up. So you need to make sure you include IP addresses and then link to here, or actually print screens. Oh, I must have taken that one off, so I have to go look for that one. So let's see if this was, because then not, oh, I must have moved it. I have to, anyway, those should be links to print screens, because you know how to take internet speed test. And in this case, this is a wired speed versus a wireless Wi-Fi speed. And then I have you do some comparisons here. Okay, and I'll show you in a minute how you calculate this, but I'm talking about this because in order to do this speed comparison, you actually have to have a wired connection to your router, and some folks don't. Many don't actually. And by the way, if you want to, you can come by and borrow a cable from me, a network cable, if you want to connect it into your router, because it is good to know the difference between your wired and your Wi-Fi speeds. Because many people don't realize, and by the way, you should understand based on your provider. For me, it's Xfinity, what kind of wired speeds I'm getting, because that's what I'm paying for. And because your Wi-Fi speeds are many times slower, although with newer routers this may not be true. Okay, so the reason I'm having you do this mapping out the network is to understand what things are on your network, right? Comparison of your cellular speed to your Wi-Fi speed maybe on a different device, like my mobile device versus my laptop. And then I have you do these comparisons, okay? So that's the other document I have you do, which is a Google Sheet. And in here I just have you do some, and I talk about this in the video, but what kind of things can you do offline? For me, it's not a lot. But the most important part of this sheet is actually doing the calculations right. Okay, so I compare on my laptop my wired speed versus my wireless speed. And I say, in this case you would say my laptop wireless is about 60% slower than my wired. And on my phone, it's about, so I compare my phone Wi-Fi to my phone cellular. Now these numbers I'm almost guaranteeing are different now because I did one recently on this. But again, the idea is that you do, and I even give you the formula for how to do this. But if you don't happen to have, and this is what I'm going to go back to, is if you don't happen to have a wired connection for your laptop to do this speed comparison, because I want at least two of these like this, then you can choose to compare maybe your speed with a friend's internet speed to see how fast yours is, right? You could do other comparisons. You could come up with, and if you don't, if you have an idea you want to pitch to me, throw it out in chat and say, hey, how about I compare? But it's comparing some kind of speed capacity of your network versus some other kind of equivalent network, right? But again, if you don't have a wired, right, compare yours against somebody else's. But most everyone can compare your Wi-Fi speeds compared to your cellular feeds on your phone, right? And you can see the speed differences here as well. But again, when you're doing the sheet, right, the map, because really what you're doing is for this work, you're really, the most important thing are these two. This is a drawing and the other one is a sheet. And it's mapping out your IP, so your private IP addresses versus your public. And that's the other thing, when you do these IP addresses, you're going to see something very likely different. This is what we call IP4. And let me just show you. The newer IP is IP6, version 6, and it's going to look very different. That address will look something like this. So don't worry if your addresses look different, okay? So take those, take those things into heart when you do the week 10 classwork. So I'll release these together, but I think this is a really important fundamental skill walking away from this class with, will benefit you in many areas of your life. All right, have a good next couple of your weeks, and I'll talk to you soon.